described them as unplayable on Saturday. It hasn't always clicked this season as a partnership. I just wonder what you've done to try and develop it as a pairing.
I think it's more about what they've done. And I was talking about the front three as an attacking unit. I thought our creativity, our movement, the relationships with the front three, which is always the key, was a real positive. And I think you obviously have to mention the core of the team behind them who worked ever so hard and give us that platform to go and attack well from. But in transition and going forward, we created some real big chances, and Phil was obviously around all of them. And I'm sure if you ask Danny and Ollie, I think one of them was quoted after the game saying it was a pleasure to play with Phil behind them. Phil needs runners, he needs people who are going to give quality movements in front of him, and they combined really, really well and effectively together.
A lot of the time through your career, it was sort of the norm to play with two recognised centre forwards, which you would say that probably Danny and Ollie both are, but now it's more often it's one central striker. So therefore, is it more difficult to try and strike at balances between two recognised forwards in a team?
No, for me, it's always about the relationship between both players when you're talking about a front two. I think the good thing about our system is we can be really flexible in them front three positions. You've seen it, we've played with 2 10s behind the 9. Obviously, of late, we've shifted that to more of 2 9s and 1 10. But even within them positions, I like flexibility, I like rotations, I like them to go into places and come off people where they can cause opposition teams problems, and we're not really predictable. We've also, for the first time over the last week, 10 days, had all our players available in the front positions. Carney adds to that, who can play on both lines as well. So we're in a real healthy position in terms of our firepower and our creativity. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully keeping that fit and available from now to the end of the season.
A lot has changed since that fabulous 3-3 draw against Leeds. From their perspective, how different a side are you expecting to face tomorrow in terms of tactics?
I think tactically you'll see a change. I think you could see that in the game against Leicester. Obviously, Bielsa was very unique in terms of in certain areas of the pitch. He'd obviously go man-to-man and players would get followed in different positions. We obviously hear a lot about certain training regimes that they practice and try and back that up into the games. I'm sure Jesse will want to put his own stamp on things. You could see clearly at the weekend there were slight changes in terms of tactics. Personnel-wise, it won't be too much different. So we know we're in for a tough game. I think, watching Leeds at the weekend against Leicester, they could have quite easily got something out of the game. They look very dangerous going forward. We know they've got great attacking players, and they didn't give too much away at the other end as well. So there was certainly an improvement from afar, and I'm sure he's going to be wanting to get the Ellen Road crowd right behind them. It's his first home game. We have to be ready and prepared for that, and it's got all the makings of again being a fantastic game. We're excited about it.
How far forward and how set in concrete is a deal to keep Philip Coutinho here at Villa for good? Because obviously if he keeps playing like that, he's going to be wanted by Europe's elite again. And I ask on behalf of a lot of Villa fans who've voiced this on Twitter.
Yeah, I got asked this question last week, and I'm sure it's going to come up in a lot of press conferences from now till the end of the season. I think that's credit to Phil, the way he's playing and the level he's bringing to the team. When he's physically in the right place, when he's comfortable and he's happy and he's enjoying his football, we all know we're dealing with a world-class talent. For me, it doesn't make sense to make any decisions now or say anything else on this. We just need to keep enjoying Phil. We need to keep him healthy from now till the end of the season, and I'm sure he'll help us. Because to watch him and work with him and to see him get back into his top form and enjoy his football again is a pleasure. And there's obviously talks behind the scenes on all the players and all the targets moving forward. That'll continue from now till the end of the season. And when the time's right and we have got a decision on it, the Villa fans will be the first people to know.
The 3-3 draw, as mentioned, it was an incredible game to watch. Now, for a manager, there were some great high points in that, particularly between Philip Coutinho and Jake Ramsey. But the 3 goals that you let in seemed to be quite soft. Did the players learn something different about you that night? Did you have to, did you have to show them a bit of steel? Because that should have been a game that Villa should have won, shouldn't it?
Yes, I certainly agree with that. opinion. It was a fantastic game for the neutrals to watch. I'm sure it was. As a manager, you don't really want to be involved in too many games where you concede 3 goals. So obviously, from my point of view, analysing and debriefing the game, we speak to individuals and units, and collectively we try and improve from the things that didn't go well on the night. But going forward and attacking wise, we could have scored an awful lot more goals. It was a very open game and an end-to-end game, and it wasn't the plan to be involved in that type of game. But sometimes Leeds and opposition teams take you where you don't want to go. But yes, going back on the game, and certainly the quality we showed in terms of our goals, they should have been spoken about in a winning match rather than the game that was drew.
Now, what about